like to speak a bit about the aura today. Many people think that you have to be psychic or clairvoyant to be able to perceive the aura. And that's not necessarily true, especially not your own aura. You can understand what your own aura is simply by feeling what you're feeling. The human aura is dual in nature. There's the electrical aura, which is basically the electromagnetic energy that emanates from us as living beings. Then there's the spiritual aura, which is a lot finer in nature. It mixes with that electrical aura, but the spiritual aura is not easily perceptible except through clairvoyance. However, you, like I said, can determine your aura simply by knowing how you feel. It's a common misconception that we can't control how we feel, that we are victims of our own emotions and our own feelings. And the adept understands that's not true. The adept has the ability to purify themselves and thus purify their auras. There are many different ways you can do this, and we speak about them from time to time, but I'd like to go through a few of them now. The main understanding of how to purify your aura lies in how to purify yourself of unwanted emotions. And we don't purify ourselves of unwanted emotions by pretending they're not there, nor by suppressing them, because that increases their potency and does not eliminate them from our aura. And why it's important for us to understand what's going on with the aura is because it is magnetic in nature. What you put out, you do get back. What you sow, you do reap. And a lot of times we think that that just means behavior. Well, if I'm mean to people, people will be mean to me. If I'm kind to people, people will be kind to me. If I give to people, people will give to me. And there is some truth to that. But the energy that you put out is the energy that you receive because it is what expands in your mind. The mind is by nature expansive. And so the energy that we entertain in our aura is always on if we don't take charge of our auras. This is very important because, like I said, what you sow, you reap. And so if there is something in your aura that is victim consciousness, you're more apt to be victimized. Now, that's not saying that people who are victimized did it to themselves because of their aura. That's not necessarily true. However, if you do have the victim energy in your aura, it's not so much that you're putting yourself out there to be victimized by other people, but you will notice that you're victimized by having one bad day after the next, one catastrophe after the next. Everything bad seems to happen to you. If that's the case, if it's not just isolated incidents, there's something in your aura that's contributing to that, and it behooves us to identify that and to purify it. And the opposite is true. You sow what you reap, as far as if your aura happens to be filled with energy that is uplifting. If you notice that there are certain people whom, as soon as they enter the room, the energy of the room just goes downhill, that's their aura. And their aura is contagious in other people's auras as well. And so not only is it important to understand where your aura is, but it's also important to understand how you can maintain a healthy aura in the presence of energy from people that tends to want to contaminate the auras of those around them. Remember how fear is contagious. Anger is contagious. So if you walk into a room and everybody in that room feels worse than when you walked in, that's all about you and your aura. If you enter a room and everybody feels better when you leave the room, that's because of your aura. Now, sometimes when you have that aura of upliftment in a room and you walk in there and a lot of people feel better, there's some people that don't feel better. There's some people that do not feel better, and that's because your energy does not gel well with their energy. They want to bring people down, you want to uplift people. Those two energies do not get along. Just because someone has a negative reaction to you does not necessarily mean the problem is that your aura is needing an overhaul. It also sometimes means that you're doing really well, and the people that don't want to be around people that are doing well get activated in your presence. It's important to just notice these things. I find it is very advantageous to take a few moments each morning as a daily spiritual practice and notice the energy. Notice what you're feeling emotionally and where in your body you're feeling it. And know that any of those heavy, tense emotions that you might be having have their counterpart in your aura, and they will work to contribute to the type of day and the type of interactions that you will be having that day. And it's really good news to understand that you can purify yourself on an emotional level to cleanse that aura. And all you do is relax your body and notice what you're feeling without any judgment. Just notice what you're feeling. If you were cleaning your house and you were scrubbing your floor and you noticed that there was a patch on the floor that was extremely dirty, you'd have to just scrub it a few more times. But most of us aren't going to get very upset at the fact that there was an extra bit of gunk on our floor. We're just going to clean it off, not make a big deal out of it. And the same attitude is healthy for us when we're doing our daily cleansing of our aura. You don't have to be able to see the aura. You don't have to be able to know what your aura looks like in order to know what your aura consists of. It's based on how you feel. When you take that few moments in the morning where you're relaxing your body, closing your eyes, and just noticing how you feel, wherever those pockets of energy are that are uncomfortable, notice them and just ask yourself what the thought might be that's associated with that. Usually there's a fear of something or an anger about something or a mistrust about something, and find a way to counteract that thought with a different thought. For instance, if you wake up feeling, oh, I can't pay my rent today, and then that's in your aura, right? And you're feeling that, oh, I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent today. You could notice that feeling, relax into that feeling, and notice what the thought is, and tell yourself, all my needs are met at every moment of time and point of space. Infinite intelligence is meeting this need right now. And you just say that to yourself a few times and notice how that makes you feel. And most importantly, notice how the center of tension starts to break up, especially if you direct your breathing into the direction of whatever that feeling is, and you feel it breaking up. And then you start to relax and feel better. We've talked many times about how a main part of working magic is not so much about what you want in the physical world, but getting to where you feel good about what you want in the physical world. Because if you're feeling good about it, that means that it's in your aura. And if it's in your aura, you've sown the seed and you will reap the fruit. What you sow, you reap in your aura. So that's a very great daily practice just to do on an emotional level. Now, another daily practice that's very helpful is to do something on a visual level. Now, if you're one of those people that can't visualize, don't worry about this next part. Most of you can visualize, and this is a great way to practice getting better at visualization by doing this every morning. Now, if you're in a witch's primer, or you've studied that course, you already do something similar to this with the orb of light. All you do is either sit or stand, relax your body, quiet your mind, close your eyes and take some breaths, and start to feel and see a beautiful white light moving throughout every aspect of your aura. You don't have to do a chakra balancing. You don't have to do anything major. Just see that beautiful white light moving throughout your aura. Take some nice deep breaths and let that breathing relax you more and more into the white light, and allow that white light to be the only thing that you experience. And if you can keep that image of physical light, just visualizing light, if you can keep that image up for about 5 minutes, that's enough to carry you throughout the whole day. Just that simple little exercise of relaxing and seeing light. Now, if you want to become a lot more succinct about this, you'll want to do one of those chakra balancing exercises. And I've got, I think, 2 or 3 different recordings for how to balance your energy centers and your chakras in your body. And if you can do that at least once a week, maybe once a day if you have the time, boy, that really helps to keep you clear and balanced so that you are less inclined to start picking up the toxicity around you. Another very powerful way to purify and strengthen your aura and give you more of a protective shield is to do a grounding and centering, just like we teach in a witch's primer. So you can look that up on YouTube. It's just called grounding and centering, where you feel roots extending from the base of your spine down into the earth, and you pull white light up from the earth. And you feel that white light moving all the way up the spinal column and out through the crown of your head, and it fountains down all around you. And you just do that several times. Feel the white light moving up through the spine, shooting out through the top of the head, and showering all around you. And you do that over and over again a few times. It doesn't have to be a big, long process. It can take just a few moments. And before you end, just stop and notice how protected you are. Just notice how solid the white light is in your aura all around you, and that you take that with you. Now, when you do this kind of an exercise, make sure that you check the level of energy in your body. And if you feel like there's too much energy, and you'll know if it's too much by how hyper you start to feel, just allow the excess energy to drain back into the earth, keeping everything you need, but not taking so much that you get a little too hyper. And if you do get a little hyper during the day, you can always excuse yourself for a moment, go into the restroom or something, ground and center again, and let go of any excess tension. But reinforce that visual of that white light moving all throughout your aura, keeping you very safe. Now, if you are working on the Witchcraft Beyond the Basics course, you'll notice that we have a whole series of lessons on auric colors. And that's a great tool for manifestation and for spellcasting all on its own, where you do that exercise where you ground and center and you fill your aura with light, but then you color that light a specific color based on your desire, based on what it is that you're looking to manifest. And if you're looking to banish something, there's a whole set of auric colors for that. And you can find that in the Beyond the Basics handout. And then there's another set of colors for attracting things. And working with those auric colors, not only are you reinforcing the purity of your aura and allowing yourself to always feel and be protected, but you're also adding another element, and that is manifestation. You're actually learning how to do magic on a practical level using your aura as your primary tool. And that's a beautiful thing too. So you may want to check that out if you haven't already taken that course. If you've already taken that course, you may want to revisit those lessons a bit and practice. Practice working with your aura to pull in what you want or to remove what you don't want. And it's amazing how quick, fast, and efficient that can be. And again, what you sow is what you reap. What's in your aura is what you're going to get. Now, the practical tools that we give you at the beginning of a witch's primer are always helpful, and that is cleansing your aura through the 4 elements. The most common of these is the ritual bath. And all you do is you go into a warm bath to which you've added some sea salt or even just some regular iodized table salt. You don't want flavored salt or black salt or anything like that. It should be pure salt. But you just toss a handful of that in your bath and you sit in the bath or you lie in the bath for about 10, 15 minutes. You can go longer if you enjoy it, but it doesn't have to be a long, long bath. Traditionally, you dunk your head 7 times. And the idea is that you're visualizing this water being filled with spiritual energy that is constantly cleansing and purifying. Many of us see this as the Shekinah, that fairy dust, that magic glitter all throughout the water. And you just soak in it and allow it to permeate every aspect of your aura. And then when you get out of the bath, it's a good idea to do a visualization, just like we've been talking about, where you see that white light all about you. Now, if you don't have a bathtub or you don't like baths, you can do the same thing in the shower. What I love to do is take in some salt in the shower with me and scrub my body. And make sure it's really fine salt so that it exfoliates. And you scrub it gently. You don't have to, you don't want to draw blood or anything. But you just gently scrub your body down where you can. And you see that Shekinah energy, that white light, that fairy dust, that magic glitter permeating the water that's coming out of the shower head and going all about you, all around you. Now, there's some traditional herbs and perfumes that we use in aura cleansing, and you'll find all kinds of different ideas, and there's nothing wrong with experimenting. But the two that are the most used in the tradition that I grew up in, the first one is hyssop, Hyssop, and you can make a tea out of the hyssop, just like you would make a regular cup of tea. You strain the herb out of it, and you pour that hyssop in the bath along with the sea salt, or put it in a spray bottle and spray yourself down with it after the shower. Or you can just get essential oil of hyssop, which smells so nice, and just a couple drops is all you need. More is not better. I think a lot of times we get the idea that since in the mundane world, more of something oftentimes means it's better. In magic, that's not necessarily true. A couple drops is all you need. It's not going to make it more purifying if you really overdo the essential oil. So save yourself some money. Don't overdo these essential oils. They can get a bit expensive. Just a few drops, 2 or 3 drops in your bath is fine. Or you can put some in a spray bottle with a little bit of water and spray yourself down with it. Just make sure you shake it up, because if it's water, the essential oil is going to separate. Now, for air purification, the best and most efficient air purification is breathing, conscious breathing. And there's many different ways to breathe. Some of the most popular are the alternate nostril breathing, where you take your finger and you plug up one side of the nose and you inhale through that side, and then you plug up that side and exhale out the other nostril. What the alternate nostril breathing does is it calms you down. And through that calmness, you calm the emotions, which also calm the energy in your aura. And then the energy in your aura, when it gets calmer, it gets more purified and lighter. But while you're breathing, it's always a good idea, if you have the ability, to see that light all about you. Another common breathing is just to breathe in and out through your nose, or in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now, if you are upset and you do need to purify, a good idea is to just notice what the natural pace of your breath happens to be. And then you double the exhale. The goal is to have your exhale be twice as long as your inhale in order to calm yourself down and in turn purify your aura. So there's many other different types of breathing. There's all kinds of breathing that you can do, but mostly what's important is just being aware of your breathing. Just being aware of your breathing for a few moments is in and of itself an aura cleansing by the element of air. Another air purification that we talk about that's popular is purifying by incense, also commonly called smudging. It doesn't have to be done with sage, although that's the popular one, and sage does work, but it can be sandalwood, it can be frankincense and myrrh, it can be lavender. And all you do is light the incense and put the incense on the floor in a fireproof vessel, and you walk around the incense 7 times. And each time you walk around the incense, you see another layer of your aura being penetrated with this purifying smoke. And then you walk through the incense right over it 3 times. Now, if you're like me and you don't like to do a lot of incense indoors, I would mostly do that as an outdoor exercise. You can also use a spray, perfume, or floral water, hydrosol. Even though it's technically water, when it's a scented mist, it's really acting as a creature of air more than a creature of water. And so that's another thing you can do, is just spray your aura down. But when you do that, make sure that you're feeling comfortable, you're feeling relaxed, you're feeling at ease and peaceful. And if you have the ability, see bright white light moving throughout every aspect of your aura. Fire is a powerful element when you want to do some deep purification of your aura. And it's simply just being in the presence of fire. Now, you don't want to be so close to the fire that it's uncomfortably hot or anything, but you just feel that the energy of the flames of that fire are moving all throughout your aura. If it's a very small flame or a small candle, you can walk over the candle, like Jack be nimble. You can walk over the candle 3 times. And you can also walk around the candle 7 times like you did with the incense if you like. But mostly with the fire, it's meditating and relaxing in the presence of the flame. You can do it with a fireplace, with a candle. You can take, as long as you're really careful and you have something underneath it that's fireproof, you can take a cast iron cauldron and put equal parts Epsom salts and rubbing alcohol and set that aflame. And it's safe indoors because there's no toxic fumes. Although even with that, I would always have some ventilation because it will take the oxygen out of the room. Meditating in the presence of fire is a wonderful aura cleansing. And then for earth is usually food, rest, and work. Those are the 3 earth purifications that are the most popular. Physical labor, meaning physical exercise like yoga, weightlifting, running, cardiovascular, it is a purifier. Anytime you get your heart rate up and you break a sweat, you are purifying your aura. Notice it makes you feel better. While you're doing it, maybe not so much, but after you're done, you feel better. And those endorphins are an indicator of what's going on in your aura. So physical exercise, also fasting is an earth purification. Abstaining from food for 8 hours, 12 hours, up to 24 hours. Anything over 24 hours, I don't recommend unless you have a doctor okay it, because that can cause a lot of problems. And even anything over 12 hours for some people might not be smart. So you have to really make sure that you clear fasting with your doctor. But fasting can be one of the most purifying of all activities. Going without food and just doing a water fast is the way I do it, just drinking water. There's all kinds of different fasts you can do, and you can research them on your own. But the basic fast where you just stop eating solid food and you drink only water for a particular amount of time, and notice how it purifies your aura. Exercise. If you're noticing that your aura is not doing well and you're not feeling good, you may want to look at your diet. What kinds of foods are you intaking? There might be some foods that you need to eliminate, at least for a while, in order to get your aura where you want it to be. But again, the bottom line is with the aura that if it's in your aura, you're going to experience it. So it's a good idea to make the aura a priority as far as having it clear. And the clearer your aura, the better your life is going to be, the easier you're going to be able to handle the normal ins and outs of going through your day. And not only that, but you're going to be a blessing to everybody around you, even though you won't necessarily realize it, because your aura is going to have a very positive impact on people around you, except for, like we said earlier, those few that resent you having such a nice aura because their goal is to bring everybody else down. The bright protective aura that you have will protect you from those people as well. The thing you can do most right now, if you don't feel safe in this world, is make sure that aura is clear and make it your priority each and every day, sometimes even several times a day, making sure your aura is clear and strong, and you have done all that you can do to make sure you're safe, protected, and well in so many ways. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I so appreciate you. Until next time, blessed be.